Girls, what surprised you more when you moved in with your boyfriend? They have all sorts of rules. For example, a shirt isn't dirty unless it doesn't stink, it's not wet, or it doesn't have stains on it. Before the shirt goes in the wash, they can wear it a few times. They don't think making the bed every morning is necessary either. It's a waste of time. Me, what if we have guests over? Why the hell would they go into the bedroom and look at our bed? Okay, even if they, what's the big deal if it's unmade? Are you worried that they takes a deep breath asterisk think we're sleeping on it? Anyway, we have a battle of practicality and efficiency versus beauty and, wasted time. Turns out he can sit at a computer/play video games from morning till night. Video games without having to go to the bathroom or eat. He doesn't even need light. I'm so immersed in one game right now that sometimes I actually forget about the bathroom. The only time I remember it's there is when my buddy goes on break. That's what mine says. Sometimes I'll be out of the house for 6 hours, and then I come back and he's still playing. I ask him why he hasn't or even bothered to turn on the light. I forgot. It's a good thing at least breathing is a natural reflex. Where do whole buckets of change come from? That's bullshit. You probably haven't found his box yet, with all the wires and cables and adapters. I guarantee you he has one. Excuse me, please, how come I don't need an DVI-D on D sub adapter? How come I don't need 10 old power adapters and internet cables of various lengths? Yeah, maybe not today, but you're sure to need them someday. You're gonna need them the day after you throw them away. The day after you throw them away. When I moved in with my dad, my first surprise was that he never cooked or cleaned. He had a maid, and he only ate at restaurants. Plus, when I lived with him, I thought, it's impossible for a man to pee without hitting a wall. But then I got a second surprise when I moved in with my boyfriend. Turns out he's clean, he likes to cook, and he never piss on the wall. So the big thing that I learned in my teenage years was that men are very different, and so are women. I realized that a little late because I grew up surrounded by women and rarely encountered men. One thing I've realized since I moved in with my boyfriend is that I love it. I love having someone help me with all my household chores. I happen to have lived with some pretty lousy roommates before, who didn't really like to do housework. To be fair, I am obsessed with cleanliness, so my standards are a little higher than the average person's. Of the average person, my lover, on the other hand, always helps me with whatever I ask him to do. I also like the fact that now I always have someone with me. Even if I just go grocery shopping, he is happy to keep me company. Sounds like you guys are doing the right thing. Sitting for a long time in the toilet is a sacred thing for a man. This is the perfect opportunity to catch up on all the news you missed and check Reddit. It's a little awkward when you have to go to the bathroom and he's been in there for half an hour. My boyfriend is always shocked at how fast I can to go to the bathroom. He doesn't understand how someone can shit for less than 10 minutes. They don't eat 3 meals a day. Why eat 3 times when you can have 1 or 2 giant meals? I only realized after living with a girl how often I paw my balls. I also completely ignored the subject until I moved in with my wife before marriage. She once asked, why is it that always when you're lying on the couch, your hands are on your balls? Are you afraid of losing them? I've noticed that when guys are really hungover, they sit in the shower and they're sad. My fiance once sat in the shower looking so miserable, like he was a drowning man. Oh, yeah, there's a special kind of hangover when you're sitting on the shower floor, and you can feel the water running down your back and you're fighting the pain of withdrawal, at the same time remembering all the adventures of the previous night. And then you get depressed about all the things you've said, you've done, and you start thinking about how to clean up all that shit. My man turns the air conditioner on full blast in the bedroom, wraps himself in 3 blankets, and then complains that he's too hot. I see this shit every fucking night in the summer. I've got the fan on max right now, the AC on, and I'm lying under 2 blankets with my legs sticking out. It's nice. The fact that when a guy shits, his carrot might accidentally touch the rim of the toilet. When I lived with 2 other guys, before my husband, I never once heard of this problem. Then my husband and I bought a house and he said we needed to change both toilets. I didn't understand what the big deal was at first, and got wildly angry at him when he spent a lot of money on extended toilets. But then he explained it to me. It's called the witch's kiss. Not to be confused with Poseidon's kiss, which is also gross, but not that nasty. What I hate most are those little, perfectly round toilets that are often found in old houses. You have one choice, you either piss or you shit. You can't do both unless you've mastered the art of penis yoga. Every morning when I wake up and go to the comp, I work from home, I find his pants or jeans, socks, and shoes on the floor, for reasons I don't understand. After I fall asleep, he undresses in the living room and throws things on the floor. If I stop picking them up, I feel like we have a whole mountain forming in the corner by the end of the week. Have you thought about just chucking it up? Maybe a whole mountain range with its own valleys and minors will appear there? Back home, as soon as a man steps over the threshold, all the contents of his pockets, including change and other trash, must be instantly shoved all over the apartment. I also realized after moving in that I really like wearing his shirts. And God, it's so cool to have someone to compliment your cooking. I'm laughing about the pockets. There is such a topic. After living with different men, including my current boyfriend, I realized that they are all different. Some are very lazy and sloppy. Some are clean and fastidious. Some have their own weird habits. It's weird, isn't it? Like different people have different behaviors. It can't be like that. I've noticed that my current boyfriend is much more picky about cleanliness than I am. Basically, I've always considered myself a bit of a slob, so it's somehow not even surprising. Maybe it's just my boyfriend, but I'm wildly surprised at how accommodating he is with household things. He's stopped leaving the toilet seat elevated. He hates vacuuming, but going over the floor with a mop is fine with him. When I cook, he does the dishes. Honestly, I was afraid cohabitation would be a problem for us, but no, our relationship has strengthened tenfold. Yeah, when I was a teenager, I used to hear about how men were self-centered assholes, but then I was pleasantly surprised. When a man has a cold, it's the end of the world. When he has a stuffy nose and a sore throat, it starts to look like he has cancer. When one day I have to go through a painful and agonizing labor, maybe I'll understand what it's like to be a man who is sick for a day. We usually try to hide the fact that we're sick, as much as we can. If a man admits he's sick, he's really sick. If I'm complaining about my condition with a sore throat and runny nose, I'm probably also running a fever of 39 and completely exhaustion. He loves my beauty stuff. Body scrubs, lotions, face masks, anti-aging creams are all huge favorites with my boyfriend. We just don't want anyone to know how we buy them. I've got a secret for you. I'm telling you as a man who occasionally buys his own women's merchandise. So, listen to my instructions. You go into the store. You find the shelf with the items you want. Go to the cashier. You may have to wait in line. You exchange your money for the merchandise. That's it. The secret is, you don't care, because the cashier doesn't care about you. And if you're afraid you're gonna get burned by your buddies at gunpoint, and tie you to a pole somewhere in Wyoming, just tell them, it's for your girlfriend, sister, or neighbor. Oh, I've been ranting a lot today. I've learned that until you live with a person, you don't know them. My ex would turn the heat up to max, and then when he got too hot, instead of turning it down, he'd open a window. When I'd ask why he did that, he'd say, "I'm hot." He was also always picking his nose and wiping boogers on our bed, or the couch. I rarely get angry at all, but this was just too gross. Heck, he was already 23. Thank you so much for watching. Girls, write in the comments what surprised you when you moved in with your boyfriend.